What is the worst thing that's legal? Story 1. Child beauty pageants. I had the misfortune of witnessing one of these firsthand. About 15 years ago, when I was a personal trainer, I kid you not, one of my clients wanted me to train her daughter, 10 at the time, I think, to look good in her beauty pageants. I had to tell her no because not only was resistance training bad for a person that young, and illegal too where I worked, but I was not willing to travel as she wanted me to train her at home. She did not like that answer. She begged me to come to one of these pageants and I consistently declined every time. Well, one day it came time for me to collect payment from her. She didn't show up for her session. When I called her, she told me she had my check, but she was just too busy to run by the gym to drop it off. Obviously, there were policies in place to eventually collect the money from her, but it would take forever, and I would most likely never see a dime of it. She told me to come by a pageant where she was and pick up the check. So, being the young and energetic kid I was, I said fine, thinking it would be a quick stop, just get the check and be on my way. She tells me the address and gives me the impression she will meet me at the front with the check. When I get there, she's nowhere in sight. This was roughly 2005, so I had a flip phone. Texting wasn't much of a thing yet. I called her and she said to come in and give my name at the door and she would find me. I give my name at the door and they hand me a guest pass with my name already printed on it. Clearly, she planned this. So I go in, and it felt like walking into the freaking Twilight Zone. This was the convention center of some fancy hotel. Can't remember which one, so it was nice inside. But the experience? Holy God. The first thing I noticed was the music. It just sounded like crap you'd hear in a strip club. Next, I noticed how many super overweight middle-aged people were there. I mean, I lived in America, so it's not uncommon to see big people. But I swear, it's like every single freaking adult there was morbidly obese. As a trainer at that time, it was kinda disturbing. Also, no one was happy. I noticed a lot of adults arguing, and the ones who were cheering sounded fake. It was super weird. Then I saw the children. It was exactly like what I saw on TV. Little girls who someone made up to look like grown women in a completely inappropriate way. One girl was wearing a bikini with cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. The hell? I had never seen anything remotely close to this in my life, so I felt like I was in some type of screwed alternate dimension where crap like this was normal. Next to me in the crowd was this lady talking to who I assume was her daughter, telling her to recite her lines back to her, whatever that meant. The little girl, who looked about 8 years old, was covered in heavy spray tan and wearing an ungodly amount of makeup for a girl her age. She looked like the child equivalent of a hooker, no joke. There was a girl on stage doing what I assume was some kind of routine, and she was strutting and dancing like a stripper. I don't know how else to explain it. Oddly enough, when I looked out into the crowd, no one was really paying attention to her. They were either speaking to their own daughter or they were in conversation with someone else. This made it even more bizarre. So, there I am, just came from work, so I'm wearing workout clothes. I'm also covered in tattoos, so I stand out like a sore thumb. I'm walking around everywhere, asking if anyone has seen my client. I keep calling her with no answer. Finally, I spot her in a hallway and run up to her. At this point, I'm so weirded out, and all I want to do is leave so badly. I'm trying to be as polite as possible and smile and say, yeah, this is really cool, and just find a way to get my check and leave. She tells me she wants me to meet her daughter, who is backstage, which is just the hallway outside the back entrance to the convention room. Her daughter is wearing a full-blown ballroom gown, I guess that's what it's called, like the dress Belle wears in Beauty and the Beast, with the long white gloves and all that. She's covered in makeup and looks very uncomfortable. Her mom introduces me as the man who is going to be training her. The little girl has no expression other than discomfort. Finally, the mom gives me my freaking check, and I had to ask her why she told her daughter I would be training her after I repeatedly told her no. She acted like she didn't know what I was talking about and continued to try and coax me into doing it. After I left, I just remember thinking, I can't wait to tell my friends about this crap. They're gonna laugh their ass off with me. Which they did. However, a couple of people I know told me they had relatives who did this with their daughters and had been to them before, and yep, that's exactly what they're like. I was freaking dead. What a complete and total wacky world that was. At the time, I couldn't even tell if the kids were enjoying it, but looking back now, it was clearly a bizarre form of child, and the obese parents who exploited their children were complete psychopaths. Freaking weird. Story 2. You know how when you commit a crime and get caught, you get charged in the country where you committed the crime? So, if you murder someone, you'll get charged in said country, and then there are the international waters. Every ship above 100 gross tonnage, GT, has to be registered, and if it's registered, the laws of the country where it's registered apply to the ship. But if you had a smaller boat, no laws would apply. If you killed someone on the said ship, you'd be charged in the country where the person is a citizen. But there are ways someone can lose their citizenship in certain countries. And thereby, if I kill a citizenless person on a boat under 100 GT in international waters, even if there was evidence, no one can bring me to court. Thereby, it's legal. Taking notes intensifies. Story 3. Data caps on home internet. We have a 120 gigabyte data cap for a family of 6. In a lockdown, the provider had a promotion where everyone got unlimited data, including us. We have tried to upgrade to an unlimited plan, but they gave some BS excuse about how the server traffic is clogged, like it was completely fine for the promotion. I am 99% sure they know we always pay extra for data after we run out and don't want us to save money by upgrading. Story 4. Being penalized for calling out sick from work. Even while the whole world is trying to survive this pandemic, we're still dealing with this major issue by employers. I work in healthcare, and I feel like I get shamed by my managers and coworkers when you call out, especially when you work the night shift. Story 5. College book prices and practices. Change a few words in a math book, that'll be another $100, please. Oh, you realize that you can use the book from 10 years ago and succeed? Actually, we require you to get the new book. Oh, you realize you can get the book cheaper from a friend? Actually, we're doing online books now and you need the personalized code. We change it every year even though there's been no breakthroughs in this subject. Knowing the college struggle, I have no freaking clue how this is allowed to exist. It should literally be illegal. Story 6. Spice/K2/synthetic. This may have changed in the last few years, but I found it embarrassing that our country locks up thousands for actual marijuana, but allowed that crap to be sold at every gas station and liquor store, knowing damn good and well that it was hurting and killing people. Story 7. Being rude to someone who is just trying to do their job. Also, companies using that politeness to deliver poor service. Almost every customer service rep I've ever talked to has a line you have to cross in order to get anything beyond generic scripted responses that are designed to make you give up. I honestly think utility companies purposely design their system this way to cheat the customer. For some reason, we've conditioned ourselves to feel like it's rude to ask to talk to a superior. This kind of mentality is weird because 90% of your problems can't be handled by a frontline service rep. They don't have the authorization to make any sort of decision that isn't in a manual in front of them. Supervisors love this barrier and conditioning because that means you don't have to do any real work except to make sure their employees are miserable. Story 8. You can look up where anyone lives because it's a public record. But can we please not have entire websites with databases full of every person in the country? I mean, think about people who get denied restraining orders and try to move away from their abuse. 6 months later and their abuser can just look up their name and find them all over again. This could be detrimental for spouse abuse victims, stalking victims, etc. Something should be done about them. It's terrifying. Story 9. The payday loan industry. Legal money sharks who prey on folks with poor credit to borrow money at insane interest rates. 700% plus. Here's how it works. You need to borrow $700 until your next payday. On your payday, 2 weeks from now, you will need to pay back $854, $700 plus interest. If you don't have $854 to part ways within 2 weeks, no problem. Simply pay the interest, $154, and roll it over to the next payday. Still don't have $854 on your next payday? Cool, just pay the interest and roll it over another 2 weeks. You could roll it 3 times before we ask for the full amount. The place where I worked would allow customers to take out a new loan after that 3rd roll to start the process all over. This place had customers who had been stuck in this cycle for years. I worked there in 2008 for about 5 months. Christmas came and the big boss asked why our default numbers, people past due on their payments, were so high. I said, if I were in our customers' shoes, I would be buying presents for my kids and trying to feed my family instead of paying on this loan. He grunted and snarled at me. Then I gave my notice. Story 10. Not the worst thing, but it used to be illegal for commercials on TV to be louder than the actual show, but not any longer suddenly. Honestly, all of TV and movies seem to have gotten crappy recently with their audio levels. It seems even in every movie I watch now you can't hear them while they're talking, but explosions are louder than actual explosions. TV and cinema need to learn about normalizing their audio. I get it, but I also want to be able to watch a movie with the wife without waking my 6-year-old up. Story 11. Big business lobbying politicians in order to get bills passed in their favor. There is a company called Brahms in Oklahoma that used to sell groceries out of the drive-thru. It was cutting into Walmart's profits, so the next thing you know, the FDA said they couldn't sell eggs, milk, and other grocery items out of the window anymore. Just fast food. Makes no sense to me, it's all food. Story 12. Putting unrelated crap into bills to sneak it into law. I know they're supposed to follow some kind of rules related to germaneness, but they clearly don't. And clearly need actual laws with actual punishments for pulling this crap. Story 13. For-profit prisons. I used to lobby at the state level. For-profit prisons would literally lobby against things like early childhood education and paid family leave because, well, it's bad for business. And to be clear, I did not lobby for private prisons, but did lobby for things like paid family leave and early childhood education. Story 14. Caller ID spoofing. Somebody spoofed my number, and my name came up on the caller ID apparently. I got a text from some irritable person demanding why I was harassing them. I tried to explain what spoofing was, but they sent me the screenshot of my name on their caller ID and asked if it was me. I imagine this person Googled me and did all kinds of crap and decided I was the bad person in this. I feel like my privacy was totally violated. Story 15. A parent keeping their kid from the other parent when there's no good reason to and leveraging the courts to do it. My ex got primary custody based on a domestic violence accusation that supposedly happened while she was on the phone with her sister, who served as a witness, of course. The police showed up and concluded that no violence had occurred. The court believed her version of the events over mine, in spite of a police report concluding no domestic violence, and I lost custody of my kids. After I was in court, I compared the police report with my phone records. My ex called the police before she called her sister, meaning the entire episode was pre-planned. Story 16. Unskippable double ads. They've also started throwing ads in the middle of videos that didn't even have them before. There are a few concerts that I enjoy listening to, but a few days ago an ad popped up right smack in the middle of a big crescendo to the final chorus. I was singing along in my car, just belting it out like an idiot, and 100% invested in the song and... Would you like to save money on your car insurance? That crap should be against the Geneva Convention. Story 17. The troubled teen industry. Parents pay a company to kidnap kids while they're sleeping and send them off to therapeutic boarding schools where they are abused in every conceivable way. It's messed up. Had a couple of friends that this happened to when I was a teenager. I know for one of them, it was basically a police raid/kidnapping. 4 big dudes showed up at his house to get him, and he even tried to run from them. They chased him down, tackled him, and threw him in a van. I was much worse at that age than any of those kids ever were. The fact that my mom never even considered anything like that is something that makes me realize how crappy it was of me to act the way I did. My mom and I have a great relationship now, by the way. Story 18. I have a coworker that poops a waterfall every day. How do I know this, you may ask? His poop water splashes the underside of the seat and we are stuck with poop droplets all over the bowl. The coworker in question was confronted about it and things have gotten a bit better, but there is still the occasional poop dribble every now and then. We are well aware that it could be a medical condition and we have been very gentle with him about it. The thing is that we are a very small office with a single bathroom. If the toilet is covered in poop water, everyone else has to deal with that. The cleaning staff only comes in twice a week. Story 19. In some states, you can be handcuffed, in custody, and be legally recognized as being able to give consent to a cop who assaults you. You can be literally restrained, and a cop can take advantage of you and it not be considered de facto. Additionally, there are states where, if you give birth to a child caused by an assault, the perpetrator or his family has the legal right to fight for custody, visitation, etc. New York is one of many states that has one of those laws. Story 20. Lying through your teeth on news shows because you claim you're actually entertainment, even though it has news in the title of the station. Being able to lie through your teeth on an opinion show just because it's an opinion show. Opinions should be opinions about facts. Opinions should not be an excuse for slander or making knowingly false statements in the media. Story 21. Homeowners Association. HOA. My girlfriend stopped by my house to pick me up to go somewhere, and the starter in her Jeep died. She had to leave her Jeep on the curb outside my house. The HOA says you can't park cars in the street like that, which is fine. I took her home and came back and replaced the starter on it. Some freak stick drove up and waited for me to walk away to take a picture and report me to the HOA for parking on the street. In the picture, you can see the tools laying under the car. It was parked there for 15 hours. They've fined me for parking my motorcycle on the curb. They've sent us a warning that we aren't allowed to change our car's oil in our driveway because it leaves oil spots. But there's a house up the road that has a bunch of junkers that straight up leak oil, and that's fine though. Story 22. Not giving your employees emergency sick leave, personal time off, etc. Because you have less than 15 employees, so by law, you don't have to. As an employee, you also can't pursue legal action through the Disability Act, Coronavirus Relief Acts, or employment law, because the employer has less than 15 employees. My advice? Don't move to Florida. Story 23. The cost of healthcare in the U.S. My mom had a large grapefruit-sized bowel obstruction a few years ago and had to have emergency surgery to save her life. She followed that surgery with a 1-week stay in ICU and another 2 weeks in a regular room because the damage was so bad that they had to remove a lot of her colon/intestines and place a colostomy bag. Her bill was almost $1 million when all was said and done, and she didn't even have insurance at the time, so that entire burden was on her and my dad. Our healthcare system is freaking atrocious and frankly embarrassing. Story 24. Maybe not the worst, but I freaking hate people who market alternative medicine to vulnerable people. I only really experienced it last year when my mom had to get treatment for cancer and did some research online. There's so many companies that market essential oils and things like that as a genuine alternative to chemotherapy. I just think it's hell because they're targeting people who are scared, who wouldn't be scared of chemo, and putting them in real danger. Story 25. Pardoning a man who killed multiple children and posed for photos with one of their corpses. One of them was a 17-year-old ISIS militant who was in custody and sedated, and the other case was shooting a little girl and an old man, but the witness didn't actually see him pull the trigger. He just heard Gallagher claim to make the shot as far as I've read. The accused was only convicted of posing with the body of a 17-year-old captive he allegedly stabbed and whose breathing tube he plugged. Pardon me? Story 26. I'm not sure if it's the worst thing, but I cannot believe that it's legal to film a person against their consent and then put them on a public forum like YouTube. I just think it's weird that against someone's consent, their face in what might be a very personal or embarrassing moment could be shared with potentially billions of people. Even children get subjected to this. Story 27. The way corporations privatize gains while socializing losses. They have always found loopholes to do this even in ordinary times, but during this pandemic, it is frankly nauseating to see how many companies are taking government assistance in the form of emergency relief, employee pay assistance, etc., and then still turning around and paying dividends to shareholders, CEO bonuses, etc. It's impossible not to see how the rich get richer and the rest of us get poorer. Shareholders get guaranteed gains even at times when these businesses claim to be floundering to the extent that they need an injection of public money, which the rest of us will be paying for in taxes for years to come. The rich will, of course, also find some loophole to avoid paying those taxes as well, so there's that. Story 28. Maybe not the worst thing, but companies having carte blanche free reign to buy back their own stocks en masse have been screwing our economy since the Reagan era. Stock buybacks are a way for companies to easily manipulate the value of their public shares, irrespective of the profit the company's actually producing. Because it's such a shameless method to artificially manipulate stock values, it used to be damn near illegal, and if you dared to do it, the SEC would swiftly be up your ass and sniffing around for malfeasance. But thanks to Reagan-era deregulation, companies can do it pretty much with impunity and zero oversight. Artificially inflating the market, accelerating the boom/bust cycle, and screwing their employees. It's a toxic practice, and it's a huge factor in the growing economic inequality we see today. Story 29. Civil asset forfeiture. Imagine getting pulled over for a broken taillight, having some power-hungry cop tell you that your car smells like making a canine do a false positive on your car, and you end up in cuffs in the back of a squad car. Your car gets impounded and you have to pay hundreds of dollars to get your car out, even if it was searched and they didn't find anything. In the event that they actually do find any kind of drug or paraphernalia, they will usurp your car under the pretense of your car was purchased with money and is therefore illegal. The cost of proving that your car was purchased legally and the time it takes is often worth more than the actual car itself. Cops make money by auctioning these cars off and fining you for not paying the impound fees. It's some straight up crap and it disproportionately affects lower class people. It happens all the time. Story 30. The size of the X button on pop-up ads. The size of the X button on pop-up ads.